Welcome everybody, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a new course. First, start to log in with your account. Then you go to courses, you click on add course, and then you put in a title. You can choose whether you want a regular course. A regular course is an empty course, but you can also choose based on an existing course or the template, and you can use that when you have already made a course and you want to make a new course with the same layout and the same structure. You can choose this one, and you can browse it over here. So we get test 1, test 2 over here, and we can use those courses to act as a template, as a layout. But right now I want to make a regular course. You can change the color of if you want, of the title, and then we click save. Then click on the course right here, and now we are at the overview page. And right here you see the bulletins, and that's a way you can communicate with students or give updates about what you are doing with the course. And it's a nice way to communicate with the students, and the students also see this page a little bit differently. But yeah, and right here are follow-up tasks. So if a student submitted an assignment or homework, it will show up right here. So if we want to make a new course, we first have to think about what we want to make. So let's say if you have 10 lessons you want to make, you're going to use plans, and we are going to make 10 plans right here. But first we have to make the folders for it, and that's important for the organization. Otherwise a lot of different tasks will end up in the same folder. So then you go from overview, we started here, you go to resources, and here's where everything is organized and where everything is in. So we are just going to add new folders here. So let's say we want to make 4 lessons, and I'm going to name them lesson 1, add another folder, lesson 2, lesson 3, folder, lesson 4, and then we click save. And we now have 4 lessons, and it's maybe good to also add an introduction. So let's make another folder for that, introduction, right there. So once we have made the folders, I usually go to plans and make the plans we need. So before doing all that, it's a little bit complicated maybe, but make sure to turn off the settings for using a topic. A topic divides all the plans in groups, but right now I don't want to divide the plans in groups, so I want to turn it off. So we go over here, and then we click on plan settings, and we turn off use topic. We click on here, and in here are all the settings for the plans. So you can choose whether you want to show the date or the class hours, the description, resources and activities. If you want to make the status of the plan inactive or active. But right now this is all we need. So right here I'm going to add plan, and you see it's going to add a plan, and I want to add 4 more, and then by clicking here, and then if you click over here, you can edit the name of the plan. So this one I want to call introduction, and you can just click on enter, press enter, and then we can go rename the other ones. So now we have created the plans we need. So what you want to do when you have the plans, we want to make activities that the students can do. And those activities we make in the resources again. And then we go to lesson 1. So right now I will make 2 little elements. I will add a task they have to do and then an assignment. But later I will explain more about what those different elements are you can choose. So when we go to resources, I go to my first lesson right here, and I will click on the add button to add an element. And there are many options you can choose. There are many things you can do with It's Learning. But right now I want to make a task, and I'll just make a title really quick. 1.1 task. And the task can be called reading. In here you can give more information about what the task is. Like, for example, use so many words, or just only do this. And what we do with our net courses, we have different courses about the Old Testament and New Testament and those things. And the students must read a part of the book, and they can check if they have completed the task. And to do that, we have to go over here to show more options. And there are a lot of settings, but we can go over here, assess and evaluate. And right here we can allow participants to set completion. And that enables a button on the page they can click on, and then it says completed, so that we as a coach know when they have completed it. We click over here and we click save. So now it has nothing in it, but it's just a test, so we can show you how to add these elements in the plans. So you can go over here to add a new element, but you could also go over here and add a new element. And right now I want to choose assignment. I give it a title, 1.2 assignment, with a description. It could be something like this. At the end of the lesson, you will write a short paper about something, and then you can choose to say like use 200 to 250 words. And there are more options right here, but we will go over them later. So at the right side there are also many options you can choose. It might be a little bit overwhelming at the beginning, but most of them speak for themselves. So results are visible to students. A deadline, so we can say, okay, next week on the same day I want the students to finish it. And then we can also choose to close after deadline, so they can not hand in the assignment if the deadline is over. We can choose that it is homework, assessment scale, score, different scales we can use. because in different countries they use different scales. And we can make it a group activity, a peer assessment, but right now we don't really need these. Anonymous submission are useful when you don't want to know which student made which paper, and that is useful so that we don't give more points to one student because we like them or something. Of course, we always ought to be a Christian and be fair, and but still, it could be a really good option to choose. And you could also choose to set the task to the assignment to not mandatory. And right here, you can, if you want, you can add a file with more information about the assignment. It could be a Word document or a PDF, and yeah, to provide with more information if you want, and create an assignment. So now the assignment has created. Right now there are no participants in the course, so no one is able to make the assignment. But okay, we have finished making 2 of these elements, and we could make a lot more. We can also add a page or a picture or whatever you want, and we can do that for every folder if you want, and but that takes a long time for right now. So I want to make I want to add these elements into the plans. So we go over here to the plans, and we go right here to lesson 1, and we can add a resource. So just as in the resources section, we can make new elements, a task, assignment, a test. But right now we already have created the elements we want. So we can go over here to add from course. And if we click on it, it will show us this box. And it shows us the folders we also saw in the resources. And then we click on here, lesson 1. And then we click on reading and assignment. These are the elements we created just before. And if we click add, those elements will be added in the planner. And the planner is just, you could also work within the resources as a student, but the plans are a more convenient way to see everything what you have to do as a student, and because everything you want to add an element you already see, you don't have to open a folder, and it just serves as some sort of calendar. You can add a date, you can add a description, so we can add something like this. In this lesson you will learn about etc. And then we just click outside of it and it's right here. And if you want to delete a lesson you have added, so let's say you made a plan but you don't need this anymore, you can click right here and click on action, delete. Yes, make sure you don't delete folders you don't want to delete, or lessons I'm sorry. Click on delete and the plan has been deleted. So this way you can put everything in the plans. So right now I want to go over the different kind of resources we have. The kind of elements we can add. So let's go to lesson 1. And let's go to reading. So we have already made this task, but if we want to edit it, we can go over here. This is at all the elements you will add. You can always go to the right hand, upper right hand corner, and click on here and click on edit. And then we have the same layout we had before. So we could change the title if we want. We can add something in the description. And we have the same functions right here as we have in, let's say, Microsoft Word or something. And all these options you also have within the other elements you add. So this will show up everywhere. You can, excuse me, you can go over here and add more options to add more options you would like to add. So let's say we want to make a task that students have to read a certain part of a text, and then we can go write something like this. Let me think. So I've added these dots here. And if you would like to add a text to the to this page, you can do that. You can upload a text file, a Word file, a PDF, anything you like, to the It's Learning interface. So what you want to do, if you want to add a file, you can go over here and it says file from your web files. We can click right there and we can choose to add a new file. But what I like to do is I like to first make a folder, and it shows us this box, and I want to rename it lesson 1 so that everything stays organized. And then we can go over here on lesson 1 and I add a new file. Oh, I'm sorry. We click on cancel. We can go over here, upload a file. And it shows us the screen and we can browse in our computer for a new file. So let's say we go to my school database. I add a work document and I save it. And then when we are back at this screen, so we click on here, your web files, we are right now at the folder section where we were at a few minutes ago. I click on lesson 1. Here is the text document and I click on link, and it will insert a link to the description box of the task. So we click on it and there it is. So it says document at the end. If you want to delete that, you can. So the students can click on this and open it in a new tab right here, and I will show you that. So after you have finished the description, you might ask something like, after you have finished reading the chapter, make sure to mark this lesson or this task as completed. And I already made did this so that the students are allowed to set completion, and we click on save. So now there is a description and the file in the description box, and we click on here, and it will download the file within your browser, and the students can open it right here. If you upload a PDF, it could be that the tab, I'm sorry, excuse me. So if you upload a PDF, it could be that the file will open in a tab. So once again, if I want to add a PDF instead of a document, I will go over here again. I will click on edit again, and I will just delete this. And I go to this button again, a file from your web files. And we go to the same screen again. So here's lesson 1. And we want to go over here. And again, we want to upload a file. But this time I want to upload a PDF. I don't know if I have one. Okay, I got one here. I want to open it. Save it. And now it's also listed as a document in our file system. So again, we click on link to insert the link into the text. I will delete this end. So because it's underlined and it's blue, the students will know it's a link to the file. You can also rename this if you want. You can click on edit link. Or maybe not. Anyway, we have made this, and we can click on save. So right now it shows as this title here. This is Dutch, so you probably won't understand what it says. So click on it and it will open in a new tab. This is not a very nice document, but if you want to, you can click here on download so that the students can download it to their computer anyways, for when they don't have internet access. It could be that they still want to read it, so they can first download it right here and then can read it offline. So this is the task reading. We usually implement one task of this every lesson in our courses from Net Foundation. So right now I want to go to the resources again, and I want to go to the folder lesson 1, and we have another element here. It's called assignment, but I want the assignment to be as the last one, so I don't want it to be 1.1, 1.2, but I want to be like 1.5 or something. So I'm just going to show you what we usually do. I want to add another element, and I want to add a task again, because when we have a task, the students can set it to completion, so that the coaches or the so the coaches will know if the student has done it. We're going to call this 1.2 video lesson. So in this task, I don't want to implement a Word document or a PDF. I want to implement a video. And a video can be a bit complicated, but I will show you how we can do it. So I'm going to write a little description again. Something like this, and we can go over here, and the way we do it, we always add videos from YouTube. So I will show you how we do it. So it is a whole other process to upload a video to YouTube. But right now I want to go over here and just find a video from Net Foundation we can use as an example. And right here we got one. It's from 6 years ago, a little bit old, but so here we are at It's Learning, and here we are at YouTube. And normally when you want to add a video, you can do it over here, but right now we already have a video, and it could be you already have videos, but the way you want to implement a YouTube video into the course, you click over here, you copy it, or Control-C, you copy the text from the link, then we go back to It's Learning, and then you click on this knob right here, this button, Embed. This way we can embed the video into the description of this task. We click on it, we just paste the URL by clicking on paste in English or Ctrl-V, and we can insert the video. And then this thing will show up here. It won't show us the video right now, but if we click on save, we can see it. And here it is. So right now, when you are right here in this lesson, students can click on it and they can watch the video as they like. They can choose the quality they want to watch it in. They can click on YouTube logo to open it in YouTube itself, just like this. And they also can make this video full screen. So now we are done with this task, but I have forgot one thing. I forgot to enable the button for the students. So again, we go over here, we click on functions, and we click on edit. We can edit everything again, and we can show more options, and we can also allow participants to set completion, and click on save. Now we go back to the resources, we go to lesson 1, and we see we have the video lesson right here. So now we have 2 things, and maybe as a third I want to add a test for the students. A test is a whole nother element in its learning, and it's very useful to test if the students have the knowledge to continue in the course, or if they have just done everything they need to do. So we are here in the folder again, and we can click on add. And we click on test right here. We make a title just like the other elements, 1.3 test. We can again add an introduction in this activity. You'll make a test. And to make this test, you will first need to click save. And this is the screen you will see first. And this is a little bit more complicated than the other elements we have just added, because we have 4 different sections right here. So if you want to add a new question, we can go over here to questions, and we can add a new question. So the most used type of question at NetCourses is the multiple choice question. And well, there are a lot of different options right here, but first we want to add one question. So we have different kinds of questions. You can play with them if you like, but right now we are going to choose multiple choice. And we come to this section right here. It's Learning also gives you a tip how you can use this way of asking questions more efficiently, or more, or just better. So for an example, I will add a new question with different answers. And this will be: the coach is born in Holland. So what I just did there, here you have to enter the question, and right here you can enter the choices you want the students to choose from. And if you want more than 3 choices, you can add an alternative. You can add another choice, and you can add as many as you want. So I want to add this one and just say USA. So actually I'm born in Ecuador. I'm Dutch. My parents are Dutch, from Holland, but I was actually born in Ecuador in South America. So this is the correct answer. And we click on here. Correct. So now I'm thinking, okay, I don't want this answer to be an option. So I click on remove to delete this option for the students right there. And now we are left with 3 choices. We can add a score value for this question. So if it is a really hard question, we can give it like a score value of 3. So let's say I save this one with a score value of 3. So we can right now we can choose to save this question as its own, or we can save it and make a new question immediately, and the new question will be the same type of question we just made here, and I want to do that. So I click on save and new. And then we can add another question. So another question could be: the Bible has and then dot 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 34 books, 20 books, and 66 books. And of course the last one is correct. When the question is showed to the students, the choices we see here are randomly put in order, so put in a random order. So if you always put in the right answer at the top one, it won't show it always at the top one for the students. So we click on here, correct, and this score value we keep it as 1 and we save it. So if you might think that this question is harder or less harder than the other one, you can adjust the score value right here. So the question of where I was born, and I was born in Ecuador, is a little bit harder than this question, because most people know the Bible has 66 books, but they don't know I am born in Ecuador, because I don't look like an Ecuadorian guy. Therefore this question is a lot easier, and we can just save it with score value of 1. So once we have saved the questions, we see this question listed here. We see what type of question it is, we see what the question is, and we can see right here what the score is, and we can also click on here to edit the score if we think 3 is maybe a bit too much. We can change it to 2, and it will do that immediately without going into the question page again. So most buttons here are really easy to understand. So we can add a question, we can delete the question, we can click on a question and move down. So now right now it's as the second question in the order of the test. We can move it up again when we selected it. We can copy a question and we can paste it again. So that could be useful if you have the same type of question twice, but it does. So let's say we have a question right here. We can go into the question, and let's say we want to make this the Old Testament has, well, Old Testament has 39 books. We click on save. So let's say we want to make a question about the New Testament. We can click on here, we can copy this, and we can paste the question. And right now another question has appeared, and we can click on here and we can make it, change it to New Testament, and of course that has 27 books, and we click on save. So to edit the question, you just click on the question over here and it will go to the page we just saw. You can also add test categories to organize your questions, but most of the times we don't use them at NetCourses because it gets a little bit too complicated. And the reports is useful when you want to see what the statistics are of the tests, how students have done it. It could be that most of the students have made the test really poorly. So let's say 18 of the 20 people have failed the test. You can see it over here. And we go back to this tab, and here's all the information of the test. So we see the description, you see when it's published by me, it's mandatory, they have to do it, there is no deadline. We can set a deadline if we want, so we go over to this knob, to this button right here, to functions, edit the test settings, and there is no, let me see, options. We go back to test information and set a time span when it is active. But we won't do that right now. So right now it's inactive. When it is inactive, the students cannot see it. They cannot do the test. Once we click on activate, they can enter the test and do it. So and also right here you can see if people have submitted the test, and in a few moments I will show you how I will do that, how I will make the test as a student, and after that we can see how I as a administrator see how a student has done the test. So right now I want to activate the test just so I don't forget it, and we will go back into the resources. We go to lesson 1 again, but now we see with 1.2 assignment 2 times, and we don't want that. We want the assignment as last, so we click on edit, and we can click over here to edit the title, and we can make it 1.4, just like this. And we can go back to resources, or we can go back to this folder right here. This is a really useful way to jump between the folders. So to make this organized, I want to put this 1.4 assignment down here, and we can click on this button to do that. So now we see this, and we can move it down. So now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can click on save. So now we see all the elements are active automatically, except the test, but we already made it active. So we go to plans, and now we see we only have those 2 we added before. So again we will add the resources just like we did. We go to the plans, to the lesson you want to add the resource at. You will add it right here, and we will add it from a course. And if you click on here, it will add a new task immediately, and it will just put it in a random folder and not in the lesson 1 folder, and therefore we don't do it right here, but we do it in the resources. So we add it from the course. We click on this arrow, and these 2 are already highlighted because we already imported them from this lesson folder. So we click on here, those 2 also, and we click on add. So now we see everything is in here except the order is not right. So we will click here on the side, and we can add it and drag it under test. And there are options over here if you want to delete from the course, if you want to remove from the plan. So if you have a reading exercise and you want to remove it from the plan, don't click on delete from course, because it will delete the whole activity. You can remove from this plan and it will stay in the folder. I will show it right now actually. I will click on remove from this plan, so it's deleted here, but it is not deleted completely because right now it is in this folder, lesson 1. So I just deleted it. Again, we go to add resource from course, lesson 1 reading, and we have to drag this over to be the first one. So this is a really basic introduction on how to make a course and how to make the plans and the folders and the different elements you can add. And of course you can go to lesson 2 and do exactly the same thing. So as a last thing in this plan, in this course, I want to add an introduction, and I want to add a resource for that. I want to add an element, and that element is just going to be a page. So after I have added the page, I will test this course as a student, but I will advise you to first play around with making the course itself, because it could be a lot of steps you have to take before you understand it completely. You have to get used to making the folders and making the elements. So I will advise, after I've added the element here in the introduction, that you pause the video and just play around with it yourself. Because after that I will show you how to add participants to the course and how you can do the course as a student. So we go to introduction. We want to add a resource here, but we don't want to add it from the planner. From the plans, we can add it from the resources again. So instead of lesson 1, we just now go to introduction. Again, we can add an element, and this element will be just a general page for the students to see information. And the page is not mandatory, so they don't have to do it, but it is just useful. And to make the page, we click on here where it says page. So right now we are at the page. We can rename it to general information just by clicking on the title. And here it says start building your page by adding a content block. So we can click on here or click on here, and it will show you this little screen. You can add files, images, everything you want. But right now we want to add rich content, and that is a block where you can add text and images and videos embedded in them. And just like what you saw at the other lessons, like with reading or video lesson, it's kind of the same description box. We see that description box of these elements is kind of the same as this rich content block. So we click on it, we give it a title. As you see, I have already made a few titles before, so it shows up again. So I can click about the author, and I can say something like, well, Peter is a student at the Christian College in Ede in Holland, etc. So that's that. Another important thing you can do within these description boxes, and you can also do this in the description box of the reading task or the video lesson, you can add images. And I want to add an image of myself here. To do that, we can go over here. We can add an image. And as we see, we come in the same folder area we had before. So this is not the area of, not the structure of the resources, but this is the structure of our files we have uploaded to It's Learning. Now we'll make a new folder again. It's called Introduction. Click on OK. So we are now in that folder. And here we can insert a picture. And in English it says choose file. And we click on here. And I have already put a map here with a little picture of myself. And we can choose how we want to place the image in the text. We can do not wrap text. We can choose image to the left or to the right. I want it to be to the right. We could choose upload and insert. And it says how much time it takes to upload. And this is me with my face. So we can now, if we want, so let's say I want to add a little bit more to this content block. I can click on enter and do this like that, and then we can add something here. And I just want to use another thing from the description box to show you how many things you can do with it. So I will just type my name right there. I will select this and I will make this bold. And what you also can do, so you can make it bold, you can make it italic, you can underline it, but just keep it simple. I just want to make it bold. If I want to, I can highlight this by making it italic. It looks professional, in my opinion. So now we have done this. I just, as you saw, I just moved the image to the top of the page. If you want, you can add more text here. I just will add some things so it fills up a little bit. It makes no sense what I'm doing, but okay. So another thing, okay, I will delete this. So just like that. Another thing you can do is import a smiley or emoticon, and there are different things. So right now there are only these ones, but when you go into the lessons right here, into a description box of the reading or the video lesson, you are able to add more emoticons, and I will show you that in a minute. But this is enough right now, and I click on OK, and it shows us this content block right here. But for my taste, it is a little bit too wide, so I will change the layout right here. I click on it and I will make it 2 columns, and I click on save. And this shows very nicely. And then I will add another content block. And we can just say what we want to say. So we can say welcome at this course. Here you will learn, etc. We can click it OK. And we can drag these things where we want them to be. So you can fill this up with a lot of content blocks. It could be very nice. You can make it very beautiful if you want to. So I want to add this general information page to the plans. So we go over to the plans, and again we click on here, add resource from the course, and then we go to the folder introduction, and general information is right there. And just like that, we have already filled this up a little bit. It already looks like a course. So lastly, I just wanted to give that example of the smileys you could use. We go to reading and we click on functions and then edit. So those smileys are found right here, and there are a lot of them. So these things can be useful to, if you have the same type of question or task every time, time and time again, you can choose the same smiley for it. So what I always like to do is the last sentence, if you have finished reading the chapter, or in the other task, if you have finished watching the video, make sure to mark this task as completed. And that could be very useful to do. So I click on here, right to the left side, and then click on this, and I want to choose this check. And over here I just want to implement a light bulb, some sort of information. And let me see if we have one. I think we do, but I'm not really sure anymore. It's always difficult to find these things. Over here, and we can just put some space so it looks neat. We can click on save. And then it's going to show up with these smileys or emoticons, just like that. And we can do the same for the video lesson. So right here, we can click on edit. And what we can do right here is add the light bulb right here. In this task you will do this. It's some sort of sign that you are giving information. So I will click on enter right here, and then watch the video. I will add an eye. I think we have one, I'm not really sure anymore. Right here, watch the video, and again the check symbol. And what you also could do is you could make this bold to make it a little bit more beautiful, and we can click on save. And just like that, we have created just a more user-friendly interface for the students, so that they know what you have to do. If you are done, okay, they can click on this. So now I've explained most of the things we could use to make the lessons and make the course. So right now I will show you how to add participants to the course, and how the student will see the course we have just made. So let me drink a sip of water. Okay. So now we are done with making this course. Let's say we are completely done. We are not done in reality, but let's say we have done everything. Let's say you want to make a student account and to test this course. And you can do that by going over here to admin. user and access rights, and we can click on here, add a new user. And this will just be student etc, and let's make this test 3 student so we know what kind of student it is. Username, we'll make it student test 3, and the password will be something else. Not allowed. You have different options right here. So when you are making a real account for a real person, you can do that. So let's say I want to make an account for myself. I can also call this Peter and then Warner. I can make a username. I can make a password and I can send it to the user. And they can be allowed to change the password, or they can be forced. Be forced is a little bit too big of a word, but they have to change the password. But right now, just choose not allowed, so I know what password it will be. Then we can click on select profile, and we can say it is a student. And hierarchy is going to be the hierarchy of our school right now, and that is etc. So I will click on choose. There are other hierarchies for other schools, but we don't have access to them because we don't need to. And then you could add personal information, but everything with a star to the right of it is mandatory. So we can add an email address, and that way to add this email address you can use it to send the people an email with the with everything they need to know about the course. So if I put my email here and I click on send email to user, It's Learning will send an email with my username and my password so I know how to log in. But right now I don't need this anymore. And then we click on save. So I made this student test 3. We click on save. And we can go back. Here we see all the other students we have. And we can go to back to administration. So now I want to add this student to the course. So we can go over here to the courses we have. I already have some more courses. But we can also go over here to make a course. We don't want to make a course right now because we already have one. But we can click over here again. Test 3. And we started the same page we did earlier. So we can go over here to this button. So we want to add a student. We can go over here to click more. And we click on participants. This way you can add a participant to the course. Right now it's only me. I'm the course designer. So what you could do, there are different options. They may seem a little bit complicated. The first one is the most easy one, and I will show you that. And then I will explain the other one. So you can click on here, add participant, and then you can search for the first name. I think my name is something like student, but I'm not really sure. Or is it test 3 student? So I found the student by just typing the first name and pressing on enter on my keyboard, and then it searches for the student, and right here you can search for what kind of person or participant you want to add. So if you want to search for administrators, we can click on here, but we don't need that right now. So we have found our student, we can click on it, and we can give a role to this participant. We can make him coach, course designer, or guest. A coach is useful when you want to add a coach to the course. So say you have one of coaches at your college, you can add them to the course just the same as students, but you just make the role different, and then we can add the student right now. He is added. And the other way you can do it is you can click on hierarchy synchronization, and this way when we add students in the admin tab right here, just like we did a few minutes ago, we added the student test 3, and we added him into the hierarchy of our college. So you can choose to synchronize the participants with your college. So click on here, find hierarchy. We can choose our college, and when we do that, it will synchronize every new student that is added to the college will also be added to this course. But right now we already have one, so I want to cancel this because we have the student right here. So right now we're going to log out, and I'm going to log in as the student. Student test 3, I believe. No, thank you. So as a student, you will see this page first. You can select your language. Mine is English UK. And then you can enter your email address. And we click on save. This is the first welcome page for the students. And then we click on let's go. So it immediately begins on this course we made, because we only are in one course. We start over here at the overview. There are no messages from the coach because I didn't make one. But we see on the right hand side all the tasks the student has to complete right here. So we are going to do that. So as a student, we go to plans, and then we can just first visit the general information page to learn more about what the course is about. So it's not really filled up yet, but this is what the student sees. If he clicks on here, he can only print the page, but he cannot edit the page or anything like that, because the student has no rights to do that. So we close this plan. We are back at the plans section, and we go to lesson 1. Right here you can choose to go to the next resource or go to the previous resource. You can show all the resources, and you can close the plan as a student. So in this task you will read a part of the book. It says read this text document, and then this will take about 20 minutes. Well, I don't know if it will take 20 minutes, but you can add that so that the student will know how many minutes it will take. When a text is really long, when it is a really big document, you don't, and the student wants to know how much time it costs. So we click on here, it will open it just like it did in our when we were an administrator. We close it off. After you have finished reading the chapter, make sure you mark this task as completed. And we have set this in the settings. So now we can click on here and choose yes, and now it is completed. And later we will see as an administrator again that we have indeed completed this task. We go to the next resource. Here you can watch the video again. But right now I'm not going to complete the task because I want to see it as an administrator if it really knows if I have completed the task or not. So we go to the next resource. And right here we will make a test. There are 3 questions. It is mandatory. There's 1 attempt allowed. We can start the test. And we can say the coach is born in Ecuador. That's the right answer. We can click on next. The Old Testament, I will choose a wrong answer right here just for an example. And here we can choose a right answer again. A student can pause the test if he does not have enough time. But right now we just want to complete the test. You are about to exit the test. Okay. And the second one is not the right answer. We have a score of 0 of 1. And here it just tells the student some information about the test. It can go right here. The student can also see if what the answer actually is, or what the answer the student gave. So it gave this answer, but that answer is wrong. So we go back to 1.3 test, submit it. And now we go to the next resource. And right here the student can answer the assignment. And the student can answer the assignment by doing different things. When it is a short assignment with only 100 words, the answer can be written in the text box right here. But when it is a really long assignment, and my assignments at my college where I study, some assignments are 10 pages long. I make those in a Word document and then I add them as a file right here. So I just type down 1 word. You can save, the student can save it as a draft or can submit it immediately. And here's the assignment again. I will submit it. And the deadline is showed right here. And now is the end of the first lesson, and the student can close the plan. Now we go to overview, and it says that 1 task has not been done because we have not completed it. We have not set the button to complete it, but when we click on completed, we see 3 tasks have been done: the assignment, the test, and the reading. The assignment has not been corrected yet because the coach has to do that. The test has been completed because it's learning automatically checks if the answer is right or wrong. So now I want to go back into my administrator account. I log out. I log in with my administrator account. And I'm going to the course. I will click on here and click on test 3. Okay, here it says follow up task and it says 1 after that. So that shows me that a student has has done these tasks. So first I want to just to show you how this bulletin works, I want to share an update. Thank you for participating in this course. And right now the student is able to see this message, and it is he's also able to write a comment back to me. So follow up task, we go over here, we click on assignment, and we see, okay, student test 3 has not has filled in or has submitted the homework or the assignment. So we click on this and it says hello. Okay, status is satisfactory, not correction progress. We can choose this and we can give feedback to the student. We can even add an attachment like a text document with some more information about why the student has some sort of mark or grade. So we can just save it and it says next. But there are no students left, so this is the only assignment we have to assess. So we go back to the plans. So you can go to the task you have to do as an EAT coach or administrator right here, because this will show you that students have submitted the assignment or the homework, but you can also just go to the plans themselves if you find that easier. We can go to reading, and the student says he has completed this part. But when we go to the video lesson, the student says he has not completed it, but we can set it to complete it if we want to. So it shows that it automatically shows us if the student has completed it or not. We go to the test. The student has submitted a score of 3. We can show it. We can show what answer the student has given us. This is the right answer. This is the answer of the student. And we can go to reports, test statistics. Well, one student has only done the test, but here everything will show up. So this video was just a really quick and fast summary of everything you can do within It's Learning. There are a lot of other things you can do within It's Learning. Yeah, I just did it very fast, and I will advise you to just play around with it a lot. Some things will become really intuitive when you just do it a lot. So don't hold back to make a course or a test course. And if you need more information, you can always contact me. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something from it. And have a nice day. Bye bye.